All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going deep on amino acids.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, these are the tiny things that make up proteins.
Yes.
Right? But they do way more than just, build muscles.
Exactly.
And that's what's so cool about this and what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're looking at an article from Assay Genie called Amino Acids, Functions, Roles, and Structures. And it's got some pretty amazing insights.
It really does, yeah.
Okay, so the article starts out by, talking about like what an amino acid is, and it gets kind of,
It can get pretty technical.
yeah, it's like all this chemical stuff, Can you give us like the simple version but without, missing the important details?
Sure. So imagine like a tiny tinker toy.
Okay.
And in the middle is like the central hub, and that's the carbon atom.
Got it.
And then attached to that, you've got a couple key parts. An amino group, a carboxyl group, and a hydrogen atom. But here's the cool part. There's also this unique side chain called an R group, and that's where the magic happens.
The R group. So
Yeah.
that's what makes every single amino acid different.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like imagine you have 20 different tinker toy connectors,
Okay.
each with a different shape and a different function. So that's why we have 20 different amino acids, each with its own superpower.
I see. Okay. So they seem so simple,
Yeah.
but there's like this underlying complexity.
Right.
That's just fascinating. And the article talks about all these crazy functions, like way beyond making protein.
Oh, yeah.
It just blew my mind. What really stood out to you?
Well, the fact that they can be used for energy, I think, is really cool. So imagine your body is like a hybrid car,
Okay.
and it can switch between different fuel sources.
Mm-hmm.
So when glucose is low, certain amino acids can step in, and they're converted into either glucose or ketones to keep you going.
Wow. So they're like the backup generator for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's so cool. And then there's this whole connection between amino acids and neurotransmitters. Those chemicals that control our mood and sleep and focus.
Yes.
It's like they're like directly connected to our brains.
They are. So, for example, tryptophan
Okay.
is a precursor to serotonin,
Right.
which is really important for mood regulation.
Yep. Yeah.
But then serotonin is converted into melatonin,
Yeah.
which helps us regulate our sleep-wake cycle. So making sure you have enough tryptophan can really impact your mental health and your sleep.
Wow, that is fascinating. So if I'm trying to like really, dial in my diet,
Yeah.
what amino acids should I really be, thinking about and why? I mean, the article talks about essential versus non-essential,
Right.
and I've never really fully understood like what that meant.
It can be confusing, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, essential means that your body can't produce it on its own.
Okay.
You have to get it from your diet.
I see.
It's like a vital ingredient that you can't substitute.
Okay, so are the non-essential ones like less important?
Not at all.
Yeah.
They're still essential for your body to function properly. Think of it like this. Your body is capable of making its own bricks, but it still needs the raw materials to do so.
Okay.
So under normal circumstances, your body can make these non-essential amino acids.
Okay.
But if you're under stress, or you're sick, or if you're really pushing your body physically, that demand goes up.
Oh.
And you need to make sure you're getting enough from your diet.
So it's all about like making sure you've got enough to keep up with demand.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So back to these essential amino acids.
Yeah.
The ones we have to eat to get from our diet.
Right.
The article lists them all, right? Like 9 of them, I think.
Yes, there are 9. Histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and buline. Now, you mentioned you're into fitness, right?
Yeah.
So out of those 9, leucine is your new best friend.
Right.
Imagine it's like the foreman on a construction site,
Yeah.
and he's directing the building of new muscle.
Ah, so that's why you always hear about leucine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the VIP, okay. And we know tryptophan is important for sleep and mood.
Right.
Are there any other essential amino acids that have like particularly interesting roles?
Well, they're all vital, but I think lysine is worth highlighting.
Okay.
So not only is it involved in building protein, but it also helps produce carnitine.
Okay.
And carnitine plays a crucial role in energy production and fat metabolism. So if you're looking to boost your energy levels and support healthy fat burning, lysine is a good one to pay attention to.
Wow, this is like really making me rethink amino acids.
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting to see how much they impact our overall health. Like, it's not just about protein, it's about, everything.
Right,
So
exactly.
I'm already like thinking about how I can tweak my diet and make sure I'm getting enough of these essential ones.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get too far into that, what about those non-essential ones? I mean, we know our bodies can make them,
Right.
but are there any times where we might need more than our body can produce?
Absolutely. Our bodies are amazing, but they can only do so much, right? Think of it this way. Your body has a factory that produces these non-essential amino acids,
Okay.
but sometimes that factory can get overwhelmed.
Oh.
Stress, illness, intense exercise. These can all increase demand. And if your body can't keep up, you might experience some symptoms, or it might hinder your recovery.
So it's not just about getting enough of the essential ones, but making sure we're supporting our body's production of the non-essential ones.
Exactly. Especially during those challenging times, it's all about balance.
Balance, yeah. Okay, I'm starting to get it now. I'm starting to see amino acids in a whole new light.
Yeah.
Not just like building blocks, but these like, dynamic players in this whole complex orchestra.
I like that analogy.
Each with its own part to play.
Yeah, and just like an orchestra, if one instrument is out of tune or missing it, can throw the whole performance off.
So how do we make sure our amino acid orchestra is playing in perfect harmony?
Well,
That's what I want to know.
that's a great question. That's what we need to find out.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, to tune our amino acid orchestra, we got to understand the different, categories.
Okay.
Remember those R groups we talked about?
Yeah.
The side chains?
The Tinker Toy connector?
Exactly. Yeah. Those connectors determine whether an amino acid is attracted to or repels by water.
Oh, interesting.
And that's where the terms polar and nonpolar come in.
Okay, that sounds a little like chemistry class to me.
It does. So think of it like this. Imagine a party,
Okay.
and you've got all these people there, and some people are drawn to the center of the action,
Right.
mingling and chatting. Those are your polar amino acids.
They're like the extroverts.
Yeah, they love water. They're often found on the surface of proteins interacting with the watery environment of our cells.
So they're like the life of the party.
Yes, exactly.
What about the nonpolar ones? Are they like hiding in the corner?
You could say that. Non-polar amino acids are hydrophobic,
Hydrophobic.
which means they're water-fearing.
They don't like the party.
No, they don't.
Uh-huh.
They'd rather stick together than mingle with water molecules.
Okay.
So you'll often find them tucked away inside proteins forming the core structure.
Ah, so they're more like the introverts.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you've got like the party animals and the introverts.
Yeah.
Got it. The article also mentioned acidic and basic amino acids.
Right.
How do those fit in?
So those relate to their electrical charge.
Okay.
Acidic amino acids have a negative charge,
Okay.
and basic amino acids have a positive charge.
Okay. And why does the charge matter? Does that affect how they interact?
Absolutely. Think of it like magnets.
Okay.
Opposites attract. Right. So acidic and basic amino acids can form these strong bonds called ionic bonds, and those bonds help hold the protein structure together.
I see.
It's like they're providing the scaffolding
Got it.
for the whole protein building.
So it's not just about having all the right amino acids. It's about having them in the right balance
Exactly.
so they can interact properly and make these stable structures. This is complex.
It is. It's a very delicate dance
Yeah.
with all these different players moving and interacting in just the right way.
And that dance is happening like all the time, right?
All the time in every cell of our bodies.
Oh, wow.
From building and repairing tissues to transporting nutrients and fighting off infections, proteins are involved in almost everything that keeps us alive.
It's amazing.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about the different types of amino acids,
Right.
their categories, and why that all matters for our health.
Mm.
We even touched on some practical stuff like leucine for muscle building and lysine for energy.
Yeah.
But what I found really interesting was the potential downsides, Like if you have deficiencies or problems with amino acid metabolism, it can lead to some pretty serious health issues.
Yeah, the article mentioned phenylketonuria, or PKU.
Right.
It's a genetic disorder where the body can't break down phenylalanine. And that can lead to some serious problems.
That's a little scary.
Yeah.
Makes you realize how important it is to get that balance right. But how do we even know if we're getting enough of each amino acid?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky because there's no easy test.
Right.
But paying attention to your overall diet and lifestyle can go a long way.
Okay, so what are some of the key things we should be thinking about when it comes to optimizing our amino acid intake?
Well, that brings us to the topic of food.
Yes.
After all, that's where we get most of our amino acids.
Let's talk food. I am ready. So food is the key
Yes.
to making sure our amino acid orchestra is playing at its best.
Yeah.
So where should we start?
Well, when we talk about getting all 9 essential amino acids at once, we're talking about complete protein.
Complete proteins.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good thing.
It is a good thing. And the good news is nature gives us lots of options. Animal sources like meat and poultry and fish and eggs and dairy.
Yep. The usual suspects.
Exactly. So if you're someone who enjoys those foods, you're probably getting a good amount already.
Okay, so that's for the meat eaters out there. What about for folks who are vegetarian or vegan?
Yeah.
Can they still get all those complete proteins?
Absolutely. So a lot of plant-based proteins are considered incomplete
Okay,
because they might be low in 1 or 2 essential amino acids.
right.
But there are definitely superstars out there. Quinoa is a great example.
Quinoa.
It's a complete protein all on its own. And then there's soy products too, like tofu and tempeh.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like with a little planning, both vegetarians and vegans can get all those essential amino acids.
For sure.
But what about combining different plant-based proteins?
Yes.
Can that help fill in the gaps?
You got it. It's like a puzzle.
Okay.
You combine the different pieces to get the full picture, like beans and rice.
Oh,
Classic combo.
the dynamic duo.
Yeah. Together, they have a complete amino acid profile, even though on their own, they're missing some things.
Cool. Okay, so a little knowledge about amino acids goes a long way.
It does.
It helps us, make better choices about the food that we eat.
Right.
But what about people who have special diets or health conditions? Should they be extra careful about their amino acids?
It's always a good idea to talk to a doctor or a dietitian
Yeah.
if you have special needs or concerns.
Yeah.
They can help you figure out if you need to make any changes or if you should think about supplements.
Okay, good advice. So speaking of supplements,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about how BCAAs are really good for athletes.
Right.
Are there any other situations where supplements might be a good idea?
Yeah, definitely. So some people have trouble absorbing amino acids from food,
Okay.
maybe because of a digestive issue or something. And in those cases, supplements can be really helpful.
Yeah, like bridging that gap.
Exactly. And as we get older, our bodies sometimes aren't as good at making certain amino acids.
Ah, so supplements could be good for older people too.
Exactly. It's really about figuring out what your needs are and talking to a health professional to get the right plan for you.
Awesome. Well, this has been so interesting.
It has.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too.
I'm already thinking about, what I can do differently in my own life.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
These tiny little building blocks are really the foundation for a healthy life.
Yeah.
And understanding them can really help us make good choices about our diet, our lifestyle, our whole well-being.
So well said. And a huge thank you to everyone listening for joining us today
Thanks for having me.
on this deep dive into the world of amino acids.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Remember, knowledge is power.
Yes, it is.
Keep those amino acids flowing.
Keep them flowing.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.